Today we're going to talk a little bit about Microsoft Excel macros. And a macro is a way of automating commonly repeated tasks. So if you have a file that comes in daily, like a batch report that you're importing into Excel, and then you're either doing a summary or you're managing the data, transforming the data, whatever it is you have to do, you can do that automatically. So there are a number of different ways we can use macros. It can be used for formatting, inserting charts, visualizations, but any repeatable task can be completed in a macro. And the macro recorder just simply takes whatever steps that you complete and records them into programming language. Now it's important to note that a macro is a programmable item, which means you can use it to create problems or nefarious actions. So if you get an Excel file from the outside world, from somebody you don't know, and it's got macros enabled, it's normally a good idea not to run them. But let's go ahead and get started. I'll show you just a real quick, simple macro, and then you can use that knowledge and expand on it to do whatever it is you need to do. So when we look at our Home tab, we're going to run over here to Developer. If you don't have the Developer tab, just right-click in the ribbon, go to Customize the ribbon. It will show up over here. You just want to highlight it and click Add, and make sure it's over here and checked. If it's already over here and it's unchecked, just simply check it and hit OK, and the Developer ribbon will be right here. From here, we want to start by recording a macro. I'm going to call this one Import Batch. Now you can store this in the worksheet that you're working in, or the workbook that you're working in, or in a new workbook, or you can store it in your personal macro workbook. I'm going to store this in my personal macro workbook. This is a hidden workbook that opens with every Excel file that you open. So this would mean that my macro will follow me from any spreadsheet to any spreadsheet, and that's how I want my macro to work. So I'm going to hit OK. The next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my Data tab, and I'm going to get some data from a CSV file. So this CSV file is on my desktop, so I'm just going to click that, and I'll hit Import. Now it's starting to import the data. It knows that it's a comma delimited file. It has the headers correct. I could come in here and transform this data if I wanted to. I could do anything that I want, and that macro would record my actions. But in this case, we're just going to load. So we've loaded our data. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to rename this to base data. And then I'm going to go over to my sheet 1 and I'm going to rename this to summary. And from here, I'm going to put my batch, my orders, and my amount. And from my batch, I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to do equals, and I'm going to come to my base data, and I'm going to click on my batch and hit enter. My orders, I'm going to do account. And I'm going to go ahead and click on my order IDs and hit enter. And then I'm going to do my amount, which is sum. And I'm going to come over to my base data, and I'm going to click on paid, and I'm going to hit enter. And now I have a nice summary. I'll make these bold. I will make these accounting. And I've got formatted data, and it's all summarized. From here, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to hide this tab. So all I get is my batch summary, and I know that batch 1212 contains 49 orders worth $26,734. I am done creating this macro. So I need to go to my Developer tab, and I need to stop recording. If I don't stop recording, anything else that I do will be recorded, and that can create errors. So by clicking stop recording now, it would save the macro and it would be complete. Now, just for the fun of it, I'm going to go ahead and introduce an error. What I'm going to do is I'm going to save this file. Now notice I haven't stopped recording. I'm going to click on File, Save, this PC, more options, send it to the desktop, and I'm going to call this error. So I go ahead and close this Excel file, and I'm going to go ahead and save. Notice it's saying, do I want to save the changes to the personal macro workbook? That's going to save the macro I just created to that hidden workbook that opens with my Excel files. I want to go ahead and save that. So now when I open a new spreadsheet, and it's brand new, and I go to my Developer tab, and I click on my macros, I can run this macro. Now, if I run this macro, you're going to see that it errors, and I'll show you why. So it's running. Notice the tab structure, everything that I did actually happened, and we ended up with the same results. But it says a file named error.xlsx already exists. Do you want to replace it? If I hit no, then we have a problem. The workbook failed. And if I click on debug, I can see that the problem here is I actually told it to save. So when I came down here and I told it to save, that's where we get the error. So really what we want to do is get rid of this. So if we get rid of this and we save it, and we go ahead and close our debugger, notice that was all programming language, and we're going to go ahead and close this Excel, and we're not going to save the changes to that book, but we're going to open up Excel again. And in this case, what should have happened is it would have removed where I saved the file, thus removing the error. So we'll go to Developer, and we'll go to our macros, and we'll run it. And now there's no save option. So even if you have issues with your macro, you can go into the programming language and fix it. It's not a complete loss. That language is there. The programming is behind the covers, but you do have to learn how to read that. Now this is a very simple macro. You can create as complex of macros as you want to. And if you have a file that you are continuously, daily, weekly, monthly, formatting or doing something with, this is a great way to manage that process, do it once, and then the next day it only takes seconds because it's just going to be done. The other thing is it creates consistency. You won't forget any steps. So I hope this was helpful. Please tune in and watch any of our other videos, or if you have suggestions, let me know. Thanks. Bye.